Thanks very much. I'm Duncan. I work at Aether. Like a true Brit, I should start with an apology. I picked this exact moment to get a man flu and lose my voice. And I'm also probably had a bit too much cough medicine, so let's see how this works out. So I'd like to talk a bit about this idea of thinking things. A few years ago, the thing we call a computer exploded into 1,000 shiny objects. And in this kind of this avalanche of awesome that is the Internet of everything is still very much in its infancy. It's still in diapers. And as any parent of small kids will tell you, babies are really hard work. So we're at this point where each individual product is a marvelous thing, but the sum, the whole, is a lot more hassle than it's really worth. And this growing family of things that we own, the thermostats and the wristbands, the weighing scales, the door locks, the sous vide machines, bring great power to us, but at the stage we're at, the power that they bring also brings a lot of complexity. So we've seen this before with television. Television as an object used to have 2 knobs on the front. And television as a service was just a handful of channels, and you could tune one of the knobs and find the Lone Ranger and watch it. That was it. Then TV now, you have thousands of channels, and you also have 3, 4, maybe even 5 remote controls, each of them with about 35 buttons. And these things, they're the hub of it. They're at the heart of this situation. They are the new remote control. And you see the makers of these products rushing to add more layers, more gadgets, more features to support all the air traffic control of all these different products that we can now buy. So music at home is a really nice case study in this sort of paradox of complexity and power. When we started Aether, we took a lot of care and time to go to people's homes and talk to them, and more importantly, watch what they did. And we saw some very strange things going on. One of those things we ended up calling the silent breakfast. Now, the silent breakfast is where the owner of a leading multi-room wireless speaker system finds herself making breakfast in the kitchen in the morning and wanting some non-silence. And then, of course, the first thing she has to ask herself is, where is my phone? And her phone, like most of us, is charging next to the bed. So she either gets the phone, unlocks the phone, swipes a few times, finds the music folder, opens the app, waits for it to connect, and then chooses some music. Or then she does what she actually does, which is just continue in silence. And then there was this place, this home, which was actually far from unique. We saw this a few times, where you have a Tivoli radio right next to a Jambox or a wireless speaker. So here was an opportunity to do something differently. So we took all this inspiration, and we built this thing, which is called Cone. And Cone is a thinking music player. It learns what you like, and it plays what you'll love. You just reach out, directly turn the dial, and Cone picks what it thinks is the perfect sound for right now. And if you know what you want to hear, you just ask. Cone listens and then plays that song or that radio station or that podcast. Now, as we work, we keep a handful of sort of principles stuck up on the wall in the studio. And I wanted to share a couple of those principles about thinking things with you today. So the first principle is that people will always choose the path of least resistance. Now, any reasonable person listening to this is going to say, well, hold on a second, it's not that big of a deal, is it? You take out your phone and unlock it and open an app and then pick the song you want to hear. But it turns out that that little point of friction, that seam, is just enough to break people out of the flow of what it was that they were doing and make them think and make a choice. And that little kind of hiccup is just enough to actually make them not do it that much. So when we were talking with people and meeting with people, this paradox of, wait, I have access to all the music in the world with this service or that service, and I can make it magically come out of places in my house with my phone. But what we heard again and again was, I'm actually listening to less music now. So we thought to ourselves, what if you could directly reach out and get something to start playing, and that thing that started playing was good, even great, perfect for that moment? Would that be enough to get people listening again? And it turned out it was. By providing a path of less resistance, Cone owners listen to more music. So the second principle, thing, whatever, mantra that I wanted to share was the fact that homes are shared spaces. Our homes are shared spaces, whether it's families and kids or just friends coming over for dinner or drinks. The space that we inhabit and the things we do there are often shared experiences. And by locking up those experiences behind an account, an individual account with a password, accessed through an intensely personal object, your phone, that's okay for the early adopter in the household, but everyone else that they live with is at a disadvantage. And we saw all sorts of workarounds for this. Most typically, the wealthiest of subjects, of course, could buy a dedicated iPad for their home entertainment system. But not all of us can do that or want to do that. And then you have another machine, another device to maintain, to look after, to feed and sync. So if we could just design around these restrictions, design something that everyone can access, everyone can share, everyone can enjoy, then we can create something, or almost go back to a point where music was this sort of common property in the house. If we can design for everyone, not just someone. So the phones that the smartphone platforms that we have today exert a kind of gravity, mainly because of technical reasons and commercial reasons. They suck everything, all the use cases towards them and become this hub, which is great for the companies that make them, but it's not necessarily the best experience for us. So it creates these master-slave relationships between your phone and the things that you use. And you don't have to be a marriage counselor to figure out that that's not a very healthy balance. So if we, as people who think about and make products like this, if we want to make powerful, capable products, we have a choice. We can cover them with buttons, like a TV remote, or virtual buttons in an app. Or we can do the other thing, which is we can take the responsibility, we can do the work, the hard work for the people that buy our products, And we can give these products the ability to think, to take all the data that's flying around and turn that data into knowledge which allows that product to interpret a very vague human gesture of, I want to hear some non-silence. And all the choice, the 30 million tracks and thousands of radio stations, and turn that vague gesture and all that choice into a suggestion for the right thing, whatever that is, for right now. And only then can we give the people who buy our products these simple, direct, and forgiving ways to use our products. Thanks very much for listening.